Hello everyone, in this video we'll be talking about determination of interest rate. Now as discussed earlier, interest rate is determined at the equilibrium position, which is when demand for CBM equal to supply for CBM, right? We discussed that demand for CBM can be denoted as C plus 1 minus C theta MD. But we have not talked about CBMS, which is supply for CBM. Well, we didn't discuss this because CBM consists of reserves added with currency. Now, even though CBM Reserve Bank is supposed or liable to pay it back to commercial bank and public, but it totally depends on them that how much they want to give it, supply. So this is totally independent variable, right? So we assume CMS to be H. Therefore we can say interest is determined at level where C plus 1 minus C theta MD is equal to H. Okay, now keeping in our mind this formula, we are going to talk about three cases. Okay, so before starting with three cases, we again are going to write the formula, which is C plus 1 minus C theta MD is equal to H, right? Where the C denotes currency and 1 minus C denotes checkable deposits. So the three cases that we are going to talk about are: number one, when we only hold currency; second is when we only hold checkable deposits; and third case is when we hold currency and checkable deposit in some proportion. Okay, starting with the first case, when we only hold currency, we need to make sure that the checkable deposit is 0. So to make this 1 minus C 0, you need to put C is equal to 1, right? So putting C is equal to 1 in this equation, we get 1 plus 1 minus 1 theta MD is equal to H. So we get MD is equal to H. So in this case, our interest rate will be determined at level where money demanded is equal to supply for CBM. Okay, money demanded is equal to supply for CBM. Now in our next case is when we only hold checkable deposits. So now when we only hold checkable deposit, we need to make sure that this currency is 0. So we are going to assume C is equal to 0. Now putting C in the in that equation again, we get 0 plus 1 minus 0 theta MD is equal to H, which is theta MD is equal to H. Therefore the interest rate in this economy when we only hold checkable deposit lies at rate at which the reserve was kept aside. Reserve into money demanded should be equal to supply for CBM. Now in our third case, we are going to assume that both are in some proportion. So in order to make sure that both are present there but in some proportion, you need to make sure that the C over here is less than 1, because more than 1 will give us a negative value and it's not possible to demand checkable deposit with a negative value, right? So let's assume C to be less than 1. So now we are going to talk about it part by part. it's going to be C plus 1 by C theta for now. So when you assume it to be less than 1, it's going to be less than 1 for sure, right? Multiplied with the theta. Theta is usually in point, it's 25% or 75% at max, or say 10%. It's always less than 1. It's in percentage, it's already in point, right? So even if you multiply them, it's not going to be more than 1. And also that you have considered to be less than 1. So eventually you can say this entire value of this part is going to be less than 1, right? Here we can say that demand for CBM is less than overall demand for money. Now why so? In order to understand, wait, let me just clear this out first. Yeah, this is basically because reserve or the central bank money, which consists of reserve, is just a part of a very small proportion of checkable deposit that comes under money demanded, right? So in this case, reserve is lesser than checkable deposit. That's a very fact. Okay, so yes, now we will understand graph of this determination. Now, like we discussed in our previous video, that MD is equal to $YLI with a negative sign over here, which basically represented the negative relation between I and MD. And also that we discussed that money demand, considering the checkable deposit, is also going to have the same relation. Why? Because currency is going to depend on number of transactions that you made, and your checkable deposit is going to depend on your interest rate. So again, the diagram for it is going to be pretty much the same. The x-axis will represent M and y will represent I. But the only difference over here is M. Earlier we were considering money demanded, right? Only money demanded. But now we are considering CBM, right? So the interest rate that we were talking about was for CBM. Similarly, the supply or demand are of CBM. So the x-axis will consist of CBM. Now, in CBMD is equal to CBMS, which was equal to H. H is going to be a vertical straight line because it is basically totally in control of central bank and has no determinant. It's going to be a straight vertical line. And this inverse relation between MD and LI will make this go like this, right? Downward sloping graph. Now, the point of intersection of these determine our I, interest level. Now, you may wonder, why do we have a negative relation between I and D? Well, consider the fact that your interest rate increased. Okay, so when your interest rate increased, you will not want to withdraw your checkable deposits. When you will not want to withdraw your checkable deposits, then demand for reserves, which is a part of CBM, will reduce, right? Now, as it will reduce, then automatically demand for CBM will reduce. Hence, increase in interest will lead to decrease in demand of CBM and vice versa. So yes, this is it for this video. Thank you.